Well, good afternoon, and it is an honor and a privilege to have been asked to give this commencement address to the summer doctoral graduate class of 2017. As mentioned, I graduated from my doctoral program in 2001, and over the last 16 years, as an academic faculty member and researcher, I have given innumerable talks at a variety of national and international venues. This, however, is a new experience for me, and so I just want to take the time to personally thank President Fox for what would otherwise be long-forgotten experiences, such as stage fright, dry mouth, pure panic, and nausea. I do say it does feel as exhilarating as I remembered, and so thank you. No, really, I'm just being serious. As I prepared this talk, I had thoughts on several occasions of what could I say to this audience that would be meaningful. This question would interrupt my constant thinking of, oh my goodness, I cannot do this. You've worked so hard to establish your comfort zone. What are you doing? And please don't start with what an honor and privilege this is. And yet, here we are. So in the next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to attempt to impart some information to the doctoral graduates gathered here today that you will remember, something that you'll find useful to you as you embark upon your chosen professional and personal endeavors. For inspiration, I thought back to the core message of my graduate school commencement address. I remember thinking, who even spoke that day? I know I was there, I have pictures. I couldn't remember, honestly, a single thing that was said the day I graduated from graduate school. I did remember, however, my college graduation commencement address, but that was given by Susan Sarandon. She was the star of the hit movie Thelma and Louise, and at that time, a 3-time Academy Award nominee for the Best Actress in a Motion Picture. And so I remember thinking, Duane, you're no Susan Sarandon. And that's when I realized that 16 years from now, nothing I say today is going to matter in your life. I can't think of a Nobel laureate, an Academy Award winner, or anyone on their last words of imparting wisdom ever quote their graduate commencement speaker. It just doesn't happen. And so I realized that what I say today is going to matter as to whether I'm ever asked to do anything like this again. But for you, the graduates, for you who are being honored today for your achievements, 16 years from now, what is going to matter are the actions you've taken, the decisions you've made, and the attitude you've sustained throughout the process. And so what I thought I'd talk to you about for the next few minutes are what I believe are the only variables we really have total control over in our lives. And yet, through a conscious directive of our actions, our decisions, and our attitude, we can largely define our futures. It is instrumental, I believe, to realize that life asks certain questions of us every day that demand answers. Either we answer these questions affirmatively with our decisions and actions, or through neglect, they are answered for us by circumstances and by other people. These daily questions are best designed to be asked each morning in anticipation of the day's events, and again each evening in reflection. What will you or did you accomplish today? What long-term goals will you or did you make progress towards today? What will you or did you learn today? And who will you or did you help today? Addressing these iterative life questions will help continually steer our lives in a positive direction. Through the urgency of now and the myriad of decisions that life thrusts upon us, these questions can keep us focused on the not urgent, but important matters in our lives. I do love to collect memorable quotes as a way of codifying philosophies that resonate with life experiences. Each Monday in our research group, I share a quote of the week as a way to kickstart the momentum for the next several days. One of my favorites is quote of the week number 135, which I sent out a while ago. It comes from a relatively well-known philosopher named Jack Handey. Now, for those of you who don't know Jack Handey, for several years he has been a featured writer on Saturday Night Live, where he shares his philosophies in a series called Deep Thoughts by Jack Handey. When you die, if you get a choice between regular heaven and pie heaven, choose pie heaven. It might be a trick, but if it's not, boy. Now, the reason I like this quote is that, like most deep thoughts by Jack Handey, on the surface level, it's just utterly ridiculous. Somewhat humorous, but utterly ridiculous. However, if we analyze these silly utterances more deeply, there is often some hidden wisdom that can be gleaned. For most of us, regardless of our background or our religious beliefs, the concept of heaven embodies the best there is. We've probably never realized that there even was a pie heaven, and we've probably never thought about how to get there. And yet Jack challenges us that if life presents us with a choice between regular heaven or pie heaven, go for pie heaven. You will have occasions throughout your life where your personal or professional experiences will expose you to opportunities beyond what you've previously imagined, or they will present challenges to you that are beyond your current comfort zone or your perceived capabilities. Taking that dream job or the one your family approves of. Launching your great idea into a business venture versus saving it until you're established. Stepping forward and introducing yourself to that person that you know you need to meet versus remaining quiet so you don't risk looking foolish. Now, these may not be embodiments of heaven, but nonetheless, they represent the type of crossroad decisions that we are often faced with throughout our lives. The author Robert Brault said, "We are kept from our goal not by obstacles, but by a clear path to a lesser goal." So do not be afraid to set high, ambitious goals for yourself and high expectations for your life. However, it might be a trick. What if pie heaven isn't real? What if we go for it and we fail? Jack reminds us that success is not guaranteed. There is risk in going after pie heaven. Fear of failure is one of the main obstacles that prevents us from living up to our true potential, particularly those of us who have been trained to be experts. Many of you will enter into careers where there will be a low tolerance of being wrong, of making mistakes, and in failing at what you've set out to accomplish. I mean, after all, I'm a doctor. And you may be employed based on your very high level of training and expertise and expected to perform at a very high level of competence and productivity. And while this is an appropriate expectation for the day-to-day executive functions of a professional, you must not allow fear of failure to become the guiding principle for your decision-making process. Fear is simply faith in a negative outcome. Do not be afraid to let your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations guide your life choices. Although Jack states it might be a trick, he also states, but if it's not, then imagine the rewards. The truth is that the reward is not in actually attaining the goal. The rewards come in the form of the person that you become through the process of stretching and growing to reach your goals. Today, you are being recognized for achieving the goal of completing your doctoral program. For many of you, it was probably tougher than you thought, took longer than you have planned, and may have had unanticipated detours, obstacles, and restarts along the way. And while the outward recognition of that achievement may be occurring at this moment and conveyed with additional letters before or after your name, the true reflection of this achievement is embodied in the resilience that you've developed, the specialized knowledge that you've amassed, and the analytical thinking skills that you have acquired. You are almost certainly a better orator, writer, and leader than you were when you entered your program. It is who you have become through this process that is far more important than the degree or the letters that you now carry with your name. Choosing to go after your goals and aspirations involves some risk, but it almost always comes with the guarantee that you will grow and become better through the process. Many people do go through life afraid to make a wrong decision, but Dr. Phil McGraw, or Dr. Phil, as most of us know him, said sometimes you make the right decision, sometimes you make the decision right. And oftentimes the difference between the right and wrong decision is not in the choice itself, but in the level of corresponding conviction and action put behind that decision. I have 3 young sons, Anthony, who's age 9, Brandon, age 7, and Austin, who's age 3. A little while ago, I asked them a relatively simple math problem. I said there are 3 frogs are sitting on a log in a pond, and one decides to jump off. How many frogs are left on the log? And so Anthony and Brandon proudly chimed in together 2, to which I promptly said wrong. There are 3. The frog only decided to jump off, but he didn't act on his decision. Now, in retrospect, I do recommend saving this life lesson for your children until they've moved on to multiplication and division. It really confuses them, and it irritates their teachers when you mess up their foundational math skills. Okay. However, for adults, I think this new math equation illustrates a very important facet in life. We must decide to do fewer things, but to follow through on the decisions that we do make with definitive action. After 18 years of marriage to my lovely wife, Michelle, I have learned that it is better to state outright something I'm not going to do than to say I am going to do it and deal with the consequences of having that promise go unfilled for months or years to come. As talented experts entering the workforce, you will have a huge number of demands placed on you for your time and energy investment. And the more productive you are, the more these demands, also known as opportunities, will increase. Additionally, you either already do or will have increasing responsibilities to care for family and loved ones. You will quickly learn that the quality and quantity of your life's experiences will be shaped as much by the things you've decided not to do as they are by the things you've decided to do. And that is why setting short-term and long-term goals for your personal and professional life can be so instrumental in navigating the sometimes turbulent seas of life. Much like a GPS device set on a specific destination or a lighthouse beacon to a ship out at sea, your goals can serve as a guiding post to keep you headed in the right direction. Henry David Thoreau said, "It is not enough to be busy, so are the ants. The real question is, what are we busy about?" As doctoral graduates entering a new phase in your life, now is a great time to reflect upon your priorities, to decide what is truly important to you, and to set and write down goals for your professional, personal, and recreational lives. For many years, I kept the question, what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail, above my desk at work and also at home. At work, it would remind me to think big about the challenges in my field, and to not be afraid of going after the tough questions in research. At home, it would remind me to envision the family life and the experiences I wanted for my wife and children, and to continually fight against the inertia of a life that can easily crowd out quality time and cause one to take their family for granted. Decide what you want out of life. Back that decision up with continual action. Answer life's daily questions for yourself. Our approach to answering these questions, or our attitude, not only greatly influences the outcomes of our efforts, but it also determines the quality of our experiences along the way. The writer Eric Heller stated, "Be careful how you view the world. It is that way." If our facts are black and white, but perception is our reality, then our attitude is the lens filter through which we color the world's experiences. I can remember moving from New Jersey, where I grew up, to North Carolina to attend medical school and graduate school, and the first week I was there, I went grocery shopping. And when I went to check out, the cashier asked me, "How are you doing?" To which I said, "Fine." And then she said, "Getting your shopping done for the week?" To which I thought to myself, obviously. But I said, "Yes." She rang a few more items up, and then she said, "Are you from around here?" And at this point, I thought, what's with the 20 questions? I mean, I'm paying for my items, what's the deal here? And so I answered her probing questions, I completed the transaction, and then I went home. It wasn't until a couple of weeks later, after I'd experienced the same thing at numerous establishments, that I realized that people in North Carolina were just friendly. They were actually genuinely trying to have a conversation, and that was a foreign experience to me. And so although I would have classified myself as a friendly person, I did not realize that my lens filter had been colored by a Jersey attitude. And so our attitude about ourselves, or our self-image, they set the boundaries of what we believe is possible. Our attitude about others determines our capability to build lasting relationships based on trust, or only superficial ones that are opportunistic. Our attitude about serving others often dictates our capacity to be effective in leadership roles. Our attitude about life often determines whether others want to be around us or prefer to clear the room. Quote of the week, number 95. "Life is either a great adventure or nothing." Helen Keller. Surround yourself with people who have achieved great things and are encouragers of your aspirations, and your attitude about what is possible will grow. Read about or get to know people who have overcome great adversity, and you will steel your attitude towards facing down the challenges you face in your own life. Pour yourself into helping others, and you will enrich and widen the pathway towards your own aspirations. You sit here today because you have achieved much. You have many talents, you are exceptionally motivated, and you have amassed a level of education and experience that few people in the world attain. By answering life's daily questions through conscious control of your decisions, your actions, and your attitude, you can weave together the fabric of an extraordinary life. I will leave you with one of my favorite quotes of all time, also from Henry David Thoreau. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined. Congratulations, class of 2017. Go Gators.